What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network. You know, fellas, I did a video a couple days ago covering our brother Tyrese Gibson and a disastrous Instagram live video he had with his current girlfriend at the time I'm filming this. Hopefully that she's his ex-girlfriend now, because she absolutely embarrassed my man, saying that she wanted the late Paul Walker over him. Disastrous. And in the comment section of that video, one of my female subscribers, shout out to you, she mentioned that how could anybody not see that this was a plain, I'm paraphrasing, how could anyone see this relationship was destined to crash and burn? My response to her was, and is, to any woman who would ask a question like that, is not every relationship that involves, in this case, Tyrese's case, an older man dating a younger woman, or in some cases a much younger woman, is destined for failure. If everyone who's involved in said relationship is pulling their weight and occupying their traditional gender roles, it's when we forget our roles is where the tragedy happens. So, but I mean, it wasn't a ridiculous question, and it actually brings up a much larger discussion in that why men and women want the things that we want. Why the SMV, which if you're new here, stands for the sexual marketplace value. Basically, where do you stack up on a scale of 1 to 10? We got a lot that we differ on, and because of that reason, it all works the way it's supposed to when everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. The problem is, in the 20th and now here we are in the 21st century, vaginal Marxism, you would know it better by its media-friendly nickname of feminism, has distorted women's perception of what their role actually is, what their roles actually are. And for that reason, men have been suffering for the past nearly 100 years. So, let's get into it. Number 1, our attraction triggers. The old phrase goes, men fall in love with what we see, women fall in love with what they hear. Now, when it comes to men, our attraction triggers are primarily visual. Of course, things like domestic skills, things like a good personality, things like mutual interest in terms of a person's hobbies. These will fall into play, but for the most part, if a woman does not physically attract a man, it's almost certain that she does not have a chance with that man. The only time that's different is when maybe the female shows herself to be very empathetic. Maybe she shows her to be very compassionate, and a guy will look at her and see that she, donates her time at the homeless shelter making soup and sandwiches for the homeless people or whatever, something like that. And he'll see, okay, well, this woman, she might have very maternal instincts. Maybe she'd be good in terms of mate selection. But for the most part, the things we see are the things we like. Her hair, her hopefully wrinkle-free face, her cup size, her waistline, her hips. Does she shave her legs? Does she shave her armpits? If the answer is no, fellas, side note, leave her the hell alone. The woman that won't shave her armpits or legs as a form of protest, that is not good. Back away. Back away from her like a stray dog is growling at you. But yeah, this is something that we as men have universally been attracted to. And most of these things are a harbinger of both youth, hopefully, definitely back in the ancient world, purity, and of course, fertility. No organism wants to go extinct. Human beings are no different. So, the things that attract us initially are the way things always are among mammals. And yes, we as humans are mammals, and so the males traditionally have to give chase. The women have to select from the men who you would call them suitors back in the day, who are after her. So that's how things go, fellas. The things we like are easy to see in most cases, and they're given to the woman almost free of charge. Of course, her morals come from her family, her religious affiliation if she has one, her internal spirit, how helpful she is, how much heart she has for others. Now that is an internal thing, but again, that comes later. If we don't like the gift wrap, we don't care what the gift is. That's male attraction triggers. But women, totally different story. For women, or say it this way, for men, what we like was just given to women, free of charge. All they had to do was hit puberty and not die. What attracts women to men, however, is often the result of painstaking, grueling effort to attain. Now, some guys are lucky, if you believe in luck. They just are naturally handsome, called jawline Negroes, they call them. Guys who have a square jaw, sometimes a cleft chin like myself. Guys who are 5'8" and taller. Today it's effectively 6 feet tall. That's just the metric that they use. Everything that you can't control through genetics. But some guys did hit the genetic lottery. Beyond that, though, what do women like? They like broad shoulders and muscles. You don't get those in 10 minutes. They like status and charm. It takes a long time to acquire those things. Unless you're fortunate enough to be born into a wealthy family. In that case, the status of your family name and your family reputation is bestowed upon you by proxy. Above that, they also like a man who has substantial financial resources. This is because for 9 months, especially in the ancient world, a woman was never going to be more vulnerable than that. For 9 months, she was going to be at the mercy of somebody else doing everything for her. And so her mate selection, and back then the father and the uncles and the brothers were involved in that process as well. But okay, keeping it on topic, the mate selection was, I need to pick a man who is got the best genetic material for the most handsome son or the most beautiful daughter when this kid comes out. He needs to be at least prominent enough economically to where we'll have a place to stay, clothes to wear, and food to eat throughout the winter, where most people died off. Other than that, you also need to be someone that other women wanted to have as well. That was a huge factor, because being pre-selected by other women. Ooh, girl, he cute. He like you? Oh, girl, you better get that. If you don't, I will. That was a huge part, and still is, of the female decision-making process. All these things take substantial effort, gentlemen. All these things take time. And the reason I bring this up is because what we have to do to be successful in relationships differs greatly. Because again, a man wants a woman when she's in her physical prime. This gives us an opportunity to love her for the person that she is, because men are able to do that, women aren't. But you also have that love you have for her wrapped in an absolutely beautiful package. Of course, it will degrade and break down over time. But by then, you have built so much equity in a relationship that you will look past the wrinkles, the gray hair, and so forth and so on, because you remember the time when she had none of those things. Women, on the other hand, are quite different. You see, you cannot build equity in a relationship, romantically anyway, with a woman. Briefo's Law. I got an episode I did on that as well. I'll link that down below. Briefo's Law states, a woman is in a constant state of, what have you done for me lately? It doesn't matter the 540,000 things you've done for her over the course of the relationship thus far. The clock just struck midnight. What have you done for me lately? And so, a man is constantly chasing his tail like a dog in the front yard, trying to keep a woman happy. All a woman has to do is not get fat, not commit adultery, not stress him out, and give him access to her body very regularly. Not every single time. She's allowed to say no. Sometimes headaches, sometimes menstrual cycles, sometimes whatever. Okay, we got that. But a man should never have to drag his wife kicking and screaming into the bedroom, especially after he's given her something as valuable to him as his commitment and thus his sexual exclusivity directed at her. What a woman has that attracts a man is given to her while she's very, very young. But what women are attracted to is something that takes a man who is an average man a long time to acquire and become. So yeah, when a woman is in her prime, every man wants her, but not every man will get her. She wants the best that she can do. The ugly truth is, men want the most attractive woman they can afford, but women, they want the highest status, best looking, best DNA option they can attract. It's unfortunate, it's the ugly truth, but it is what it is. And so, getting back to the whole thing about Tyrese and his girlfriend, but mostly the subject of older men and younger women, in some cases much younger women. Listen, These guys have fought their whole lives to build a physique women want, to understand what women want, their nature, how to talk to them, how to smooth them over, how to charm those panties off. They've built a fortune in some cases. And if they're smart, they've taken care of themselves in terms of their skincare, in terms of their grooming. And they may be a certain age on their driver's license, but they don't look it. Tyrese, in this case, is in great shape. The guy's a specimen. That dude's a unit, man. He and guys like him who put the time in and put the grind in, they have earned the opportunity to get the baddest looking female that they want. Now, hopefully she knows how to behave. The one he picked doesn't. But the point still remains. He can replace her on a moment's notice with somebody just as bad, if not badder, at that level that he's on. And guys like him are on. Because men, in order to be the kind of man women want, you need to have muscles, money, game, and frame. You need to be good in bed, and you need to be pre-selected by other women. Women's brains are so fucked up that they don't want a guy that's going to cheat on them. What they want is a guy who could. On the flip side of that, for women, all we care about is she hot? Is she young, aka fertile, somewhat domesticated, kind and or nurturing? That's good mother material. And is she DTF? We are not the same. And yes, all relationships are transactional to some degree. Example, parent and child. That's the purest relationship that there is involving humans, okay? I believe parents love their children, the good parents anyway. They love them unconditionally, even when they screw up and break a lamp or get a bad report card. They love them anyway. But ultimately, in the back of those parents' mind, they're thinking, if I raise this kid correctly, if I raise him with love, I raise him with morals, I'm there for them, and I'm in their corner 24 hours a day. From the time they were in Pampers, they just might be there for me when it's my turn to wear Pampers and not throw me in a nursing home. Okay? So even that relationship has a level of transaction involved. Certainly a romantic relationship does as well. But it's okay. Symbiosis demands that if the man is doing what we all know and would recognize as the traditional masculine role of the 3 P's, provision, protection, and procreation. You see, our role hasn't changed, fellas. From the Old Testament to 5 minutes ago, what women expect from us has not changed one iota. It is they who have changed. It is they who have taken it upon themselves to step outside of their traditional roles and make it optional, while they demand that ours be mandatory. Women have always wanted older men, because older men equaled more established. Older men equaled more mature. Older men equaled more stable. Why? Because if this guy gets me pregnant before they invented birth control pills and condoms, if this guy gets me pregnant, he just might be around to help me raise this kid. He just might put a roof over my head and food in my stomach every day. And this dude, hopefully, is good enough in bed so I don't have to go outside this house to get my satisfaction. All of a sudden, in the 21st century, it's a problem. Remarkable. So, I'm going to say it like this and wrap this up. Gentlemen, do not be shamed for your preferences. And this is no shade to my female subscriber who made her presence known and her feelings felt in the comment section of the previous video. Shout out to you. But you can't fight Mother Nature. You can't unring a bell. And you can't rewind a clock. Things are the way they are. And it's okay for a relationship to be transactional up to a point, as long as the transaction is symbiotic in nature. If everyone benefits, then they got what they came for. With that said, that's my time. Like the video, comment down below. Share this video with a friend and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth can set him free. Networkers, we working. Till next time.